Let me ask you a question. Can you be a real producer or engineer and only record your songs in FL Studio? Or do you have to use Pro Tools? The reason I'm making this video is because I've been seeing a back and forth between different younger engineers and producers regarding this, and it's been getting contentious, so I just decided to create this video so that way I can give some insight on what I think is going on and how we can rectify everything between each other. Let's start with FL Studio. You know, I started in FL Studio way back as a teenager. I've been off and on it for a while, currently use it for beat making. Now, with FL Studio, this has really been the underdog DAW. You know, back in the day, people would say FL Studios for kids, you know, that's the Soulja Boy DAW, you know, that's the Snap Music DAW, and that's not for real professionals. If you want to be a real professional, you got to get away from that and get some real equipment. And I understand why FL Studio users really have an issue with being undermined, because now over time, FL Studio has transitioned from being underrated to really being the industry standard when it comes to making beats. And with the dialogue on can you be a real engineer, can you be a real producer and actually record full songs in FL Studio, I could see why artists, producers, and engineers really have an issue with being, you know, written off once again. It's like, hey, this is this powerful DAW, has constantly been insulted. Now it has much stronger recording capabilities and people shouldn't undermine it once again. So first it was undermined for beat making. Now when it comes to recording, people are getting with it. More people at home are recording with FL Studio, and also FL Studio, of course, doesn't require a subscription. Once you get it, you got it for life. And fortunately, ImageLine continues to allow you to get those updates. So that's, you know, really a win for FL Studio. Now, let's get into Pro Tools for a second. No, Pro Tools, I started Pro Tools really when they had the empowered version. I believe that was Pro Tools 10 or something like that. And you know, when I first got Pro Tools, I was told, you know, this is the DAW that you need when you want to actually start recording people, when you want to actually make full songs, edit audio, you know, work in different recording studios. You have to know Pro Tools, and that was really beaten to my head. And you have to know the hotkeys so you don't waste the artist's time. And with Pro Tools, I've definitely seen a lot of changes with Pro Tools. You know, some people have issues with the subscription model. Some people have issues with the fact that it's trying to keep up with platforms like Studio One and Logic and these other DAWs. But you know, it's a more comprehensive DAW. So they're working through some things. It can be a bit clunky, especially if you're coming from something like FL Studio, but it's definitely powerful. Now, with Pro Tools, you can really do your thing when it comes to editing audio, doing multiple takes. Recently, they launched transcription, where you can actually see the words of the recording artist in the audio. So Pro Tools is just super powerful when it comes to audio, recording, things of that nature. And it's, once again, it's still the industry standard, because every studio that I've gone to and still go to, as soon as I look, it's Pro Tools that's currently up. Now, let's get a little bit more into the beef between the two platforms, FL Studio and Pro Tools. Now, the thing with FL Studio is it's capable of recording full songs. You can record full songs, of course, put out records, possibly create hit records, and, you know, maybe even win a Grammy, you know, recording in FL Studio. But at the same time, that's not really what that DAW is for, in my view. It's for beat making. It's for creating loops and layers of music and things like that. It's getting there when it comes to recording and, you know, editing audio. It's working through it, but to me, FL Studio is still the production slash beat making DAW. When you want to be creative, that's when it's time to just jump into FL Studio and totally lose yourself in the music. Now, can you record songs? Yes. Can you make great songs? Yes. Does it compare to Pro Tools? No, it's definitely not there when it comes to Pro Tools. And like that, comparatively, in Pro Tools, you can make beats in Pro Tools. You know, some people might be saying, you know, why would you want to do that to yourself? But you can make beats in Pro Tools. You know, you can use Battery for drums, Contact, anything like that, and create fire beats in Pro Tools. You know, I've done it before. I definitely prefer to do it in FL Studio, but it can be done because I've done it before. You can make beats in Pro Tools. That being said, Pro Tools is not really the DAW for beat making. Can you do it? Of course you can do it. But when it comes to beat making and the piano roll and everything like that, of course the crown is going to go to FL Studio. So I could see the parallels between the two. I could see how one is much stronger when it comes to beat making and production, and the other is much stronger when it comes to editing audio, recording, and mixing. So I think that's really a part of the disconnect. FL Studio users may not have spent as much time in Pro Tools to really understand how incredibly powerful it can be. And once again, they've been written off over and over again. And they're like, hey, I could do everything you can do in Pro Tools. But I think that's really speaking from a space of naivete and a lack of experience in Pro Tools. So, you know, at the end of the day, use whatever DAW you have access to. If you guys are out there creating crazy good songs in FL Studio, keep doing that. Keep recording. You can get record deals. You can do all that kind of stuff in FL Studio. So don't feel bad. Don't feel like, oh, I have to learn Pro Tools to really be a solid engineer or recording artist or producer. You don't have to know Pro Tools. It's good if you want to find yourself in a position of working at a recording studio, possibly filling in for an engineer. Let's say the engineer has to go to the bathroom. You can just be more valuable because you can just jump right into the chair, keep the session going, and not have to wait for the engineer. And then from there, you know, you could possibly get even more opportunities. That's just another skill that you have in your toolbox. But once again, you don't have to. If you just purchase FL Studio, that's what you got. You know, rock out, keep using that, keep doing your thing. You know, if you're using Pro Tools, of course, I don't have to tell you to keep using Pro Tools. You know, I use both. I use FL Studio for beat making. I use Pro Tools for recording and mixing. If you use Pro Tools, of course, keep using Pro Tools to record and mix. 9 times out of 10, most Pro Tools users that I know use another DAW for beat making, and then they come into Pro Tools for the actual recording process. So I don't have to tell Pro Tools users to keep using Pro Tools. They already know how powerful it is. So, you know, I just wanted to give my perspective on this. You know, guys, please don't, you know, call each other names to get into like real beef. I've been seeing people getting at each other over the DAWs. And if you're not a producer or engineer, you might not understand why people getting so hot about this. It's a deeper why than what you can see on the surface. So I'm just giving my perspective, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that you have to learn Pro Tools to really be serious when it comes to creating songs? Or do you feel like FL Studio is totally capable? And what do you guys use? Are you using some of the really hybrid ones like Studio One, which is powerful for beat making and recording, or Logic or Ableton? What exactly are you using currently to get those final results for yourself and your clients? All right, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. My name is Desmond A, and I'll be back with more great videos. I'll see y'all later. Peace. Wait, before you go, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com where you can get free FL Studio Patcher plugins, free loops, free guides, everything you need to level up your music production. Once again, go to DesmondASounds.com or click the link in the description. Go there now and totally transform your music production.